Or they will. Where is chapter 4? Oh, here it is. This Bible finally falls apart. I'm going to have to quit the business.
Yeah, we'll get you new.
No, I've got 27 new ones on my bookshelf, and I hate them all. This is mine. This is my old study Bible from seminary. I've gotten to where I'm just used to its read rather than all this new nonsense. Chapter 4. Masters, grant to your slaves justice and fairness, knowing that you too have a master who is in heaven. Devote yourself then to prayer, keeping alert in it with an attitude of thanksgiving always, praying at the same time for us as well, that God may open up to us a door for the word. Remember, Paul never visited Colossians, so he's saying, when you pray, ask God to open the door that we can come to you and work with you. So that we may also speak forth the mystery of Christ, for which I have now been imprisoned, in order that I may make it clear in a way I ought to speak. Always conduct yourselves with wisdom, especially towards outsiders, making the most of the opportunity. Let your speech always be filled with grace, seasoned, as it were, with salt, so that you may know how you should respond to each person. As to all of my affairs, Tychicus, our beloved brother and faithful servant and fellow worker in the Lord, will bring you information concerning me. For I have sent him to you for this very purpose, that you may know about our circumstances. He's in prison at the time, remember, this is a prison epistle. And also that he may encourage your hearts. With him will come Onesimus, our faithful and beloved brother, who is one of your own members. They will inform you about the whole situation here. Aristarchus, my fellow prisoner, also sends you his greetings, and as well as Barnabas and Mark, whom you have received instructions. And when they come to you, welcome them. And also Jesus, who is called Justus, a guy named Jesus. These are the only fellow workers for the kingdom of God, who are from the circumcision. And they have proved to be a great encouragement to me. Epaphras, who is one of your own brothers, also a bondservant in Jesus Christ, sends you all his greetings, always laboring earnestly for you in his prayers, that you may continue to stand perfect, fully assured in all the will of God. For I bear him witness. Johnny Thunder made a racket. Go hit him with a stick. For I bear him witness that he has a true and deep concern for you, and for all of those who are in Laodicea and Herculopolis. Luke, the beloved physician, sends you his greetings as well, so also Demas. Greet all the brothers who are in Laodicea, and also Nympha, and the church that is also in her house. And when this letter is read amongst you, have it read also in the church of all the Laodiceans. And you, for your part, read my letter that is coming from Laodicea. And say to Archippus, take heed to the ministry which you have received in the Lord, and continue to fulfill it. For I, Paul, write this greeting with my own hand. Remember my imprisonment in your prayers, and grace be with you. Okay, that's the end of it. What do you think about that? What's going on here? Sounds like just the end of a letter, doesn't it?
He's building them up.
Well, he's building them up. He's never met these people, remember. Never met them. He's only heard about the tales of them, and, a couple of the boys there, Tychicus and Epaphras, they were Colossians who joined and came to visit Paul in prison and brought Paul some, a blanket, stuff like that, because it's freezing down there in that prison. Or it was sweltering, they brought him some fresh water for a change, some decent food, but maybe a nice hunk of bread or something. So they would bring him stuff to help care for his needs while he was in prison, which at that time was about 3 years' time he spent in prison when he wrote these epistles. So 3 years is a long time. What they basically do is they would arrest a rabble-rouser like Paul, and knowing that he has all these church connections and the Jewish connections and all that, they'd chain him up and leave him there for 3 years waiting for a ransom. And if the Roman guards or whatever jailer could get a ransom, then he kept it. It didn't go to Rome, it went to Mr. Jailer. So, and this happened a lot. It was a very common practice. How the little soldiers made money on the side as well. We'll throw roller bob and chains down in the worst situation, because we know you got a big ransom, a lot of money, you know, 50,000 or 500 in an area. We'll let roller bob go. And you say, well, roller bob didn't do anything. So that doesn't matter. The roller bob's ours now. He's in our prison. He's under our scrutiny. We're not going to feed him. We're not going to give him any fresh water. He's just going to sit there and rot. So now what are you going to do? You go, well, no, or they wouldn't let you. So they let Paul because he was so well known. But most of the time, they wouldn't let you into prison sitting there unless you brought 500 denarii with you. So, and really cares. The roller bob's going to end up being one of those skeletons in the chains you see on Halloween. That's the sad reality of it. It is still practiced in the Middle East to this day. It's a good way to make money when you don't have any other means of making money. Soldiers in those days didn't pay any more than soldiers in these days. Military people that serve our nation, the greatest people in the world, in my opinion, are worse paid than teachers. And we have the worst pay in the world for teachers. So what does that tell you about our military people? Anyway, that's another soapbox I can climb up on if you want me to. But nevertheless, so the soldiers have to make a few bucks in other ways. Some guys do it through the black market, some guys, rip off tanks and so on. There's all manner and means by which you can make a few bucks. They'll go buy a case of whiskey or something, bring it up to the front lines, and they paid $4 a bottle there. Now they sell it for $50 a bottle. Well, one of the common ways for jailers who weren't on the front lines, all they were is guard over a bunch of nasty people in a hole. The only way they could make money was to say, hey. So Paul waited, and Paul waited, and Paul waited. Well, no ransom ever came. So eventually they get tired of it. Kind of like a restaurant, where a waitress has a couple who keeps eating and eating and eating, but they never tip. So finally, she get out of my restaurant. Let's get some people in here who's going to bring me some money. So eventually, if you could wait them out and endure the torture and everything else, they did let Paul go 3 times, in fact. And said, we're not getting any money on this guy. He's just a waste of space. So as sad as that sounds, that's more likely what happened. Because he was never convicted or guilty of anything, ever, except preaching Christ. But what he did do, even from prison, he was an encourager. Who do you know to be like this? One man impressed Paul quite a bit, at least in the early days. And Paul even gave him a new name. Paul called him Barnabas. He's mentioned here. Barnabas sends his greetings. Barnabas sends his encouragement. Barnabas, the name means encouragement. Barnabas is a Greek term for encouragement. I want to lift you up. to get you out of your dilemma, to get you out of your bad circumstance, to get you out of your hopeless state, to get you out of your despair, to bring you out of the darkness, to bring you out of the light. By any and every means I can possibly think of, I will do it. Well, if you're that kind of person, you're a Barnabas. That's why you see him mentioned by Paul so prominently in a lot of letters. He impressed Paul. His faith wasn't just something he wore on his sleeve. It wasn't something he just acknowledged. Oh yeah, I know God. It was something he practiced and implanted and imparted and shared with any and everybody he met. He was an active Christian. Why? Because Christianity is a verb. It's a get out there and be. And be is equivalent with do. If you want to be identified as a Christian, then you better be living as a Christian. If you want to be an orange tree, well then you better grow oranges. Right? Not rocket science. Well, that's what Barnabas is all about. And he was so much about it, Paul gave him the name. You're an encourager. I mean, it doesn't matter what situation we go into. You're uplifting. You're uplifting me. You're uplifting the people around us. You're uplifting the barbarians that we don't even know yet. You're uplifting the guys throwing rocks at us. That's what you're doing. So how does Paul end this discussion? He's basically saying, be a Barnabas. Which is implication of what? We are not in this alone. But we are a family together. We will live together, we will love together, we will take care of each other together, or we will die together. But we will be together in this life. And as long as we have breath, then let us be Barnabas-like. Let us be uplifted. Now I know he mentions a lot of guys. There's Timothy, there's Luke, there's Demas, and all these other guys. And that's the closing of the letter. You know, Joe sends his, Roller Bob sends his greetings, Chuck sends his greetings, the other Chuck sends his greetings. You know, Mary sends her greetings. All that's in there, that's true. But if you read the words and how their construction, particularly the first part is, we continue to pray for you constantly. I can't visit myself, but all these other guys can. They're not in prison. They will come to you. Receive them when they come. Welcome them when they come. Find them a place to stay. Get them something to eat. They travel a long, hard way to get to Laodicea, up in the mountains, rough terrain. When they get there, take care of them. Bring them into your house. Welcome them. Put them in front of the fire. Let them warm up. And continue to pray that God open an opportunity that I can come. Because I long to come, says Paul. I want to be with you. Well, unfortunately, Nero would cut off his head before he'd ever get a chance to get over to the Colossian church. But even though he's in prison, and many people say, well, he's done. He ain't got nothing left to do. Look at what he's doing. He's saying the best thing you can be as a Christian, if nothing else, is an encourager. And believe me, in that time, that day and age, there was a huge umbrella over every church, Christian church, and that was called persecution. The Romans were rounding them up, bringing them to the arena, making sport of them, and watching them die by the tens of thousands. If ever there was a generation that knew despair, fear, afraid, looking out the windows every 3 minutes, it was this generation. And usually when that happens to a people or a nation, it's the fear and the darkness and the depression that takes over, not the light. Basically, Paul is saying, be the light in a very dark world. You didn't make this dark world, but you're in it. You got 3 choices. You can die, check out of this dark world. You can become a victim or subject to that dark world, or you can light it up. And there is no amount of darkness in the entirety of the world that can crush the light of even one little tiny candle. One little tiny candle can dispel the darkness of the universe. Be that candle. In fact, there's a church in Portland. I can't remember the name of it, or the town for that matter. Crazy Austrians. They have these towns like this. The name is this long and there's no vowels. It's all consonants. Anyway, I can't pronounce it, but there's a church there that was built hundreds of years ago. Back in like the 1300s or something like that, or 1200s. Been there forever, centuries. And if you go there, there's no electricity in the church. There's pews, there are pews, and at each place in the pew behind you will be a little stick right here, a little bar coming up with a hook behind each one. And when you become part of that church, you are given a seat on the pews, a hook, and you are given a lantern, a little lantern. And it is your responsibility every week to light your lantern, to bring it to church where you should be, and to put it on your hook, and then to worship your Lord. Because if you don't, then there will be a dark space. And there will be a darkness there, and there will be a darkness there. But if everybody comes and is faithful to the Lord and brings their lanterns, and that church is radiant. They did a little example. They said, we're going to light all these lamps for you to show you how bright it is. And they did. You're going, wow. And they said, now we're going to start putting them out one by one. And it got darker, 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 till the last one was burning. It's really dark. And then, you're waiting. Somebody's going to die. Boom, boom, boom. And they put that last one out. And then you can't see nothing. Like the Bible says, the unilluminated is lost in the darkness, feeling for a way out and can't find it. Kind of cool, huh? The builder of the church had that in mind when he built it. And they've always kept it that way. No electric lights, none of this flip a switch, and the whole place lights up. Each and every individual's got to be encouraged. Got to light his own light, bring it into the family, and share it with everybody.
Is that how the song came about this little light around?
This little light of mine, I'm already shine. It probably was written after something like that church, or the story of that church. It's still there to this day. You can go visit. I don't know the name of the town, but I don't know it. But you can go see it. I think it's built back, I want to say it's 1200, but for some reason, 1247 is what's hitting my brain. I can't remember though. It's been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. Still there. All the conquering, all the wars, all the battles, all the Hitlers come and go. There it sits. Down in the mountains, under the darkness and shadow of the mountains. And it's dark unless everybody brings their lamp. Sticks in there. We have it. So we have a head already. And a little body. Alright, stop it. Alright, that's collusion. That's collusion. Paul is colluding with the people of Colossae. Remain strong and to be encourager, because a true Christian is a Barnabas. He is a beer because he is a doer. Pray without ceasing. Take care of the strangers and those we send to you to teach you. Take care of one another. We live together, we love together, we laugh together, we die together. But never forget, you're not in this by yourself. Christianity is always plural. There's no saint ever mentioned in the Bible. is always the saints. Always plural, always verb, always in action. Okay? Paul never went to that church, but he gave them the best advice in the history of Christians. That's Colossians. Colossians. I like to tease Cooper Rush if he always pronounces it Colossians.
Why do we start next week?
Song of Solomon.
I'm sorry.
Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Song of the South.
Leonard Skinner. The band. Charlie Daniels. The devil came down to Georgia. You ever hear that song? Take it away,
Picking the middle.
Anyway.